Hello there, my lovelies. Welcome on back. It's really good to see you. I know I'm really late on my August wrap-up. At this point, I'm going to call it purposeful and combine 2 videos into one. Why? Well, it kind of makes sense for me to do it this way anyway, I think, quarterly. Do you want in my lap? Do you want in my lap? She wants in my lap. Now that Miss Wigglesworth has decided to settle in a little bit, are you going to stay there? All hail. Anyway, I decided that moving from a monthly to a quarterly wrap-up might be wise, as I am deciding to continue onward with Sarah Cannon's HB90 bootcamp system. I absolutely love how much I was able to accomplish, and if you're looking over my shoulder at my old Kanban board, I can't believe I'm saying that, you notice there's a lot of sticky notes, and if I move further, Moo and I are hiding some, technically, to be fair. And no, I did not complete everything on my original 90-day quests list that I assigned myself, and that's for various reasons. And I'll reflect on, well, why I think this system works and how much it has really made me forcibly check my own mindset. Above all, take care of yourself. Moo and I know you're worth it. See, the HB90 bootcamp training system is so in-depth. It really has forced me to reflect on things outside of the fishbowl. The fishbowl for me would definitely be my mental baggage and anxiety. Sarah talks about a lot of self-healing in her HB90 system, along with her general attitude of how she runs Publish and Thrive and Heart Breathings as a whole. Honestly, as someone who has also read her books off and on for many years, it bleeds through into her content in ways that you might not expect from characters, both for better and for worse, good and evil, protag and antag. So this is just something I think is a natural core to who Sarah is. And thank you, Sarah, for being so authentic about how important taking care of me really is. Something I have said recently is I often tell people, take care of yourself, you know you're worth it. I'm just now learning to practice what I preach, and I thought earlier this year I was getting really good at it. And then this summer hit. So as you can see, I have a lot of yellow sticky notes over there. Those are all YouTube. All YouTube. Okay? And if I pull this board up a little bit closer, you'll see most of it's YouTube stuff. I mean, the blue stuff was just personal, family, and then everything over here is like odd and end author stuff, right? And I was trying to see what all I could get done during the summer months with my YouTube channel before I went back to, you know, typical fall schedule at an understaffed school that is serving students internationally. On a trimester system, meaning we have 3 grading periods a year, not 2. And I got a lot done, but by the end of July, I was being called a robot, a machine, inhuman because of all the things I was taking on and all the things I wanted to do, on top of trying to teach 50 to 60 hours a week, because that's really truly what I'm working these days, as of the beginning of September, for teaching, trying to plug in way more than I'm getting paid for. I'm contracted 40 hours. I'm doing the work of 2 teachers minimum right now. Okay? So yeah, I shouldn't let that toxify the rest of my life, but it becomes a give and take situation. I knew during August I didn't want to be called someone who's not human anymore. I know some people were calling me those things, intending to give me a compliment. When you grow up in a family with the narcissism that thrives in this family, biologically for me, you learn what your boundaries are on what you will and will not tolerate as far as how people view you. I am a human being, and I had to accept that this summer. I am one of the most people-pleasy people I know, and it ticks my husband off, honestly. Like, if he could give me my greatest flaw, it would be you bend over backwards for people and get nothing in return because you really truly expect nothing in return. And it gets me called things like 4 and 5 inappropriate for YouTube letter words are among the top of it. Those don't bother me. I teach. I get called that stuff all the time just because it's Monday morning at 8 a.m. That stuff don't bug me. What bugs me is when people are calling me things that are lesser or non-human. Machines are manipulatable and controllable, and I refuse to be seen like that anymore, is what I told myself. And I had a lot to come to terms with school starting in September. And I said, I just can't keep up because I know it's going to sound like whining if I mention how much the struggle has been a struggle. And these are all things that, as I'm going through my rebrand for the Arsinoe Forest Alliance to become the Myrna Annals, to encapsulate beyond 5 books, basically, I really had to come to terms with, you have a lot of lofty goals and very little time to do it, which is why I loved the HB90 system, because Sarah makes you stop and address those things for your own safety, of making sure you aren't putting too much bread in front of you when you're just one stick of butter. I mean, Lord of the Rings and Tolkien get credited with making that quote, but at the same time, I have to argue the point of the line was save some butter for your own bread. Be your own butter and bread once in a while. So I got ranking according to HB90, what can I handle? And a lot of YouTube stuff had to go by the wayside because I knew what my course load was going to be like at work this coming fall. I knew what my own publication goals were for my own books, and that I feel extremely behind because I'm basically taking 2 years of marketing, 2 years of input, and throwing it in the trash and starting over from my point of view. As far as a publication end, you know, that last step of the writing process, publication end goes, you know, all the work before it is only gain. It's just, because there were several times in July where off screen, and most of August, off screen, I was fighting tears. I didn't tell anyone how bad things really were mental health wise, because it's my problem. I have to suck it up and deal with it, right? I know my coping mechanisms to get through this by now at 35. Holy cow, I've leveled up to 35 in the last quarter. Jesus. But all the more so, I had to come to terms with, you know, I'm 35. I have a lot of things in my life I haven't accomplished yet. Am I purposefully self-sabotaging myself from getting what I want by making myself beholden and responsible to what other people want for their goals? You know, people-pleasing. Because that's a form of self-sabotaging for people whom have grown up in a narcissistic household. And I know that because I've been in therapy easily over a decade of my adult life, off and on at this point. And I'm only 35. So everything kind of coalesced in August. I didn't finish writing book 4 of my debut series as part of the rebrand. And I got really upset that I was falling behind in my own goals. I'm a quarter or 2 behind some of my goals. Why? I physically could not stretch myself to do more. There were some nights where I was maybe sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night because my insomnia was so high-strung activated, it wouldn't turn off. And I just said, you know what? I'm stressed out. I might as well take advantage of it. And the more I go back through and look at some of the things I was doing in the early weeks of quarter 3 for HB90, I could see why the whole quarter ended up that way, because I put way too much pressure on myself. I have started learning what my limits are and saying no to grand opportunities that I would love to work on, but unfortunately, until I can leave teaching and do this full time, which increasingly that's looking like a no, multi-hyphenate, hustle culture and everything aside, that's increasingly looking like a no financially, unfortunately, at least until the end of this year. I just had to say, Jenna, you need to be realistic. So to anyone I have disappointed, I apologize. Thank you for the chance. I am sorry. Additionally, I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. I'm here to work with others, to grow. But one thing we advocate as part of being a Hardy is at your own pace, in your own time. That's the way it's got to be for me. At my own pace, in my own time. And that's what I expect of others. I don't see other people, especially fellow authors, as competition. I get upset when I put a lot of work into something and don't get anything out of it like I had hoped, but that's human nature. You get over it. You reassess and you move on, or you stagnate. And I'm not into stagnation. So thank you everyone for being here and listening to me ramble this far. Thank you, Sarah, for giving me peace of mind and for encouraging me to do what's best for me. My husband's been screaming at me my whole adult married life, at least, to do that. And he's very grateful, too, that I'm getting that reinforcement right in time. Take care of yourselves, lovelies. I know you're worth it.